When it was time to plan the design for the 1960 Topps baseball cards, Berger and the rest of the Topps brain trust must have felt a tremendous sense of autonomy. After all, the major competitor Bowman was 5 years in the rear view, long ago purchased and folded into the archives. And Flair was only nibbling around the edges, unable to use cards of current players in their Major League Baseball uniforms, and opting instead for sets of all-time greats and an exclusive run of 1959 Ted Williams cards. So with no real competition on the horizon, Topps tried something different. They went back to a horizontal format for the first time since 1956, but maintained the then standard 2.5 by 3.5 card size. Lots of color, 2 photos per card, special subsets, and bold, blocky design elements dominated the cards, and it's a look like no other. But were the cards popular? Hard to say for sure how they landed with collectors of the day, but today's hobbyists love the 1960s, right along with other cards of the era. We love them enough, in fact, that some can bring big money on the secondary or tertiary or quaternary market. In that spirit, here are the 10 most valuable 1960s Topps baseball cards, ranked by values of PSA 7 specimens, as reported in the PSA Sports Market Report Price Guide. Mickey Mantle, number 350. The baseball card value game isn't always fair, and that goes double when Mickey Mantle is involved. I mean, no matter which set we're talking about, there's a decent chance the Commerce Comet is going to be on top of the heap, unless there's a Hall of Fame rookie card in the set. Sometimes, though, the mental effect can't be overcome by a mere presence of a stellar rookie card or two. That's the case with the 1960 Topps, because even though there are 2 all-time rookie cards on the list, Mantle rules the day. Hard to argue with that situation, really, because this is a great-looking mid-career card of a guy who still captures our imagination like few others, even 50-plus years after his retirement. In PSA 7, this is an 800-plus card. Carl Yastrzemski, rookie card number 148. The first Carl Yastrzemski card I ever held in my hands was a 1983 Topps base issue, and I remember being struck by A, how old he looked on it, and B, the Bible print wall of statistics on the back of the card. Not long after that, I found out that the 1960 Topps Yaz rookie card was one of the most coveted in the hobby. I eventually saw one in a picture, or maybe at a card show in Indianapolis, and I thought it looked pretty funky, but in an exotic sort of way that made it seem all the more unattainable. While that Yaz rookie card doesn't seem to hold quite the lofty position it once did, thanks to the hobby emergence of first-year cardboard from Pete Rose, Steve Carlton, Rod Carew, Tom Seaver, and Nolan Ryan, it's still a cardboard staple. Today, this is about a $300 item in PSA 7. Willie McCovey rookie card, number 316. McCovey actually scored 2 cards in the 1960 Topps set, this Topps All-Star Rookie and a regular All-Star card. The Big Mac Rookie never quite held the same sway over collectors as the Yaz counterpart, but it's always been one of the more valuable pieces of the 1960 Topps set. It sells for $250 plus in PSA 7 today. Hank Aaron number 300. It took a while for mid-career Aaron cards to gain the acclaim they deserve, but these days most fans and collectors recognize Aaron for what he is. One of the best 2 or 3 players of the 1950s and 60s, and one of the top 5 ever. That status reflects here in the form of a classic piece that's a $250 plus card in PSA 7 condition. Mickey Mantle All-Star number 563. Sometimes the Mantle effect doesn't end with his base card, but that only happens when there's any sort of other Mantle card in the set, like All-Stars or World Series or Mantle hits 565-foot home run Mantle cards. In the case of 1960 Topps, that extra Mantle card is one of the All-Star variety, and the big 60 in the background looks downright prophetic given what would unfold over the next couple of seasons. For our purposes, just know that this is about a $200 card in PSA 7. Willie Mays, number 200. Willie Mays was always right there with Mantle in the conversation about who was the best player in the game at any given time. Duke Snider was sort of lumped in there too, by virtue of his prominence with the Brooklyn Dodgers. But it was Willie who got top billing in all those Willie, Mickey, and Duke refrains, and he ended up as the most accomplished of the three. His 1960 Topps card is an absolute classic and can fetch close to $200 in PSA 7. Roberto Clemente, number 326. Even though he died prematurely in a plane crash nearly 50 years ago, Clemente's popularity seems to grow year after year. That's reflected in his cards across the board, and especially with pasteboards that hold special significance. Clemente's 1960 Topps card is stunning, as the colors, figurine batter shot, and Pirates logo fit together like art. It doesn't hurt that the Bucks won the World Series in a dramatic fashion against the New York Yankees that fall either. Expect to pay $175 or more in PSA 7. Sandy Koufax, number 343. In 1960, Sandy Koufax was still trundling along as a good but not spectacular starter and sometimes reliever for the Los Angeles Dodgers. It would be another year before he put up anything resembling big numbers and clinching an all-star berth, and another 3 until he became the lockdown beast that we all remember him as today. This 1960 Topps card is a snapshot in time of a young man on the verge of big things, and it can sell for $100 or more in PSA 7 today. Stan Musial, number 250. At the other end of baseball's circle of life in 1960 stood Stan Musial, the St. Louis Cardinals' beloved elder statesman who had built a legend over the course of 2 decades under the arch. Counting 1960, Stan the Man would manage 4 more big league seasons before retiring in 1963 as a Cooperstown lock. Not surprisingly, Musial cards have always been popular across the board, and this one is a 100-plus item in graded near-mint condition. Roger Maris, number 377. As 1960 dawned, Roger Maris was on the move from Kansas City Athletics to the vaunted New York Yankees. Could the young outfielder with the big power stroke put things together under the big city lights, or would he wilt in the fire of expectations? Well, Maris answered that question pretty empathetically with an MVP season that helped the Yanks reach the World Series. And the next season? He didn't do much of an encore. Just a little home run race with his teammate Mickey Mantle that ended with Maris eclipsing Babe Ruth's single-season dinger record by clubbing 61 of his own. He also made asterisk a trending topic before we had trending topics. For all this, Maris's card remains a strong seller nearly 60 years on, and this 1960 Topps piece, his first in a Yankees uniform, brings $100 or more in PSA 7. Like our video? Then like our videos and subscribe to our channel. waxpackgods.com